ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Chandler here for Forever Football DRFC, your Doncaster Rovers fan channel. It's a daily reports today, very exciting daily reports, because we were talking about the managerial appointment, who's in the running, what kind of names have been mentioned. We're going to talk all about it. I've not really done a speculation video on the managerial appointment yet, you know, because it's like, it's too vague. But obviously from information from the Free Press interview with Gavin Baldwin last week, we have an idea as to who could, well, not really who could be linked, but sort of the category of people linked. So before we get started, guys, make sure you do like, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell so you never miss a YouTube video. And let's get straight into this one. So, we are going to be speaking about a specific manager that was talked about yesterday. And also we're going to be speaking about funds in January as well. So it's a big daily report today. But let's get started with the search for a new manager or head coach. And Rovers are going to be open-minded, and they may opt to appoint a head coach rather than a manager as they seek to strengthen the football operation in the wake of the departure of Richie Wellens. Now, Wellens was dismissed last week after 8 months in charge, having won just 3 of the league matches during his tenure. And as they step up their recruitment drive, Rovers are considering all options available to them, including his replacement potentially working under a director of football. Now, Gavin Baldwin told the Free Press he's been delighted with the calibre of applicants so far and expects the appointment of a head coach or manager to be completed in time to give the new manager the best chance of operating in the January transfer window. But it will be the characteristics of the strongest candidate that determine the job, title and responsibilities, as well as the nature of other appointments to support him in the role. Now, obviously, Baldwin's comments are very interesting indeed. They say as follows: "We will get the best football manager we can, or the best head coach we can, and build a structure around that person, and it will be done in partnership with them. It may not be director of football or head of football operations. It may be something more imaginative. It will be an open process, but we're open-minded about what it looks like in the end. But we're adamant that we need to provide support to that person so they can concentrate on giving us the best chance to stay in the league. We've received 89 serious applications by the Tuesday evening, and Baldwin saying the profile of the candidates had been broad. The field included some that have applied for the Rovers manager's job previously that have been interviewed for the role, but there's also been some more surprising applicants throwing their hats into the ring for the first time." His comments said as follows: "We've had serious candidates from literally across the world." That bit excites me a lot more because it's nice that we're getting sort of interest, you know, around the globe, you know, maybe not just countries of leagues that have managers that are interested, but also potential managers that have got different nationalities interested in becoming head coach of the football club. So that's really exciting. We've got high profile candidates that predominantly come from the management world. There are some household names. There were some in the bookies: Nigel Atkins, Simon Grayson, Neil Warnock, Mick McCarthy. People like that are what you would call household names in the Football League. People might not like Grayson or Atkins as an appointment after what they did with Charlton and Fleetwood and where they were. But, you know, you can't deny they're not household names, especially in the Football League. Household names could also mean managers worldwide, though, so we'll have to see with that one. We've also got head coaches that have worked at significant clubs and will want to come along and be head coach of Doncaster Rovers. Again, that could mean in England, it could mean worldwide. It could literally mean anywhere at this point. It's interesting that they're talking to us. That's an interesting statement to make. It's interesting that they're talking to us. That implies to me something high profile or something higher profile than we're used to. They've told us that we have a reputation of being really well run. They see that as a constant. So if they manage the football side of it well, they will get promotion to the championship. This is what I've been saying. This is what I've been saying. Off the field, in terms of the financial side and staying afloat, they run us really well. But in my opinion, it's just the football structure that needs improving. The football structure, for me, feels dated. And now they're looking to change that. If we make the right appointment with the right person ahead of him, the right 2 appointments, the head role and the manager, or coach or head coach, then we'll get the football side right. It's the football structure at the moment that's lacking us. It's the thing that's taking us apart, piece by piece, week by week. That's the only thing for me, the football structure. If the football structure improves, but the financial side and the off-the-field stuff gets worse, then, you know, maybe I'll look towards the owner, but I'm not, because I think the owner is running us really well. It's the football structure, it's the way we structure the football side of things that's making us lack in our competitors. That's just my stance on it. But, you know, like I said, it could just all be PR spin, but I'm a big believer in the truth. It's interesting that football people say that. That doesn't mean they're the best candidates at this stage, though. There are head coaches that maybe work at Championship or Premier League clubs that are maybe below the radar, and that's where we're trying to maintain an open mind when taking significant references. It's where James Coppinger is brilliant to have at the club, because he can pick up the phone to anyone and get an honest appraisal of the candidates. The open-minded approach, according to Baldwin, extends to the remit of the successful candidate, whether that be tasked only with keeping Rovers in League One over the next 5 months or seen as a long-term appointment beyond that initial challenge. He said, well, we'll see who has applied where we determine which way we'll go. Are we appointing someone to keep us in the league and then look again in the summer, or is it someone that can do it for the rest of the season and stay on as a mentor and we appoint a longer-term manager? Normally it's hard not to have a preset idea of what you want, but we're actively trying not to this time. And I get that. If that, you know, if that was a different situation, I'd have been saying, well, you know, you should have, if it was in the summer, for example, and we weren't in this mess and we needed someone for a specific goal, you shouldn't come out with a comment like that. You should have something in your head straight away as to what kind of manager or head coach you want. With this one, it's like, you know, do you just get someone for 5 months and then appoint someone new, or do you go long term and try and keep us in the league and then go further than that? Like Darren, you know, even though Darren Ferguson came over to replace Paul Dickov and we went down to League Two anyway, he brought us straight back up, got us a decent mid-table finish, then left, or you know, was removed. So, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, at this point in the season, you sort of have to keep an open mind with this kind of situation. We're encouraging applicants, and we're being honest with them that it could be a head coach or manager. What we want to do is get the best possible expertise in, whatever that may be, that we can afford. We believe with the money available, we can get a really good head coach or we can get a really good manager. But there will probably be areas where they would need support. A really good manager who's a really good coach will probably be unaffordable for the level. We're open-minded because we want the right person. The recruitment of managers in more recent times has been characterised by a thorough and lengthy process. While intending to keep the level of detail that goes into the search, Baldwin says the goal is to accelerate the process. So the closing date is 9 AM tomorrow, on Friday. Well, actually, no, today. Well, the closing date was gone by the time you're watching this. By the time I'm recording this, it's 9 AM tomorrow. But by the time you're watching this, it'll be the closing date will be gone by now. And I'm meeting the chairman at 9:15. So after that, we're not going to sit on our hands. We do not want to get it wrong. We don't want to rush it though. We'll agree the process of shortlist on Friday morning, which we expect to be done quickly, and the interview process should start next week. Myself and David will conduct the interviews to take us down to potentially 3 candidates, and then Terry will join us at the second stage. I doubt we'll make an appointment next week. If the obvious candidate comes through, who knows, but I expect an interview next week and take it from there. It's exactly the same process but streamlined. We've made a decision on Richie because we want to give ourselves the best chance in January, so we can't be announcing a manager on January 15th. Now, obviously, there's some very bold statements in there. Some will come out and say, well, they're just talking BS again. And I get that, because there has been, you know, promises broken in the past. But, you know, I think I said in the summer with this Richie Wellens appointment, might be my final straw if we get it wrong. And look, it wasn't dealt an amazing hand with injuries, etc. But let's just see. Let's see what happens for the rest of this season. If we appoint someone that is not good enough and we go down to League Two, even worse, bottom of the league, then that is the final straw for me. But if we appoint someone that's got a decent name about him, or someone that could do well for us, we stay up and we build on that next season, then you know what, they made a smart appointment. But this is what Baldwin has to do. And Radio Sheffield said this to him, well, I've seen that Radio Sheffield ask this question by a few people. I need to watch the full interview, and I'm probably going to do a reaction video to the full interview on Radio Sheffield. But someone somewhere did say about the Radio Sheffield interview to Gavin Baldwin and asking about getting the fans back on side. He has to get the fans back on side because there's a lot of fans that are against him right now. So me personally, as someone who's spoken to Gavin quite a few times, I want him to do well. I want him to, get the fans back on side. But to do that, open and honestly, one person to another, he's got to make the best appointment possible. I don't care about budget or anything. Chuck as much money as you can, as you physically can, at the man you want, and give him exactly what he needs. Because if you do that and back him with the right football structure now, then we'll get success. It's as simple as that. But this name doesn't excite me. Nothing against the guy at all, but this name does not excite me. And this comes from a few sources yesterday evening, in fact. Graham Coughlan is linked to the job, and the sports reporter, the BBC Sheffield sports editor Andy Giddings, has put on Twitter or has tweeted that there is understanding that Graham Coughlan is talking about the Doncaster Rovers vacancy. Now, he previously worked as Bristol Rovers manager, led them to a 15th place finish in the third tier before opting to move to Mansfield, where he was unable to transform the club's fortunes. Following as a brief stint for the coach for Sheffield United's under-23s earlier this year, he's now seemingly looking to make a return to management at Doncaster. Now, obviously, his recent stint with Mansfield was extremely underwhelming. He's achieved a relative amount of success in League One during his managerial career, but his Mansfield stint was underwhelming. He was only able to guide the Stags to 4 wins in 27, and to be fair, even a Bristol Rovers fan replied to me about Coughlan and said Johnson Clark-Harris was the reason why we stayed up, not Graham Coughlan. So even Bristol Rovers fans, won't like the look of this. For me, he's not my first choice at all. At all. When you see the names that are in the bookies, when you see the names that are being linked, Jonathan Woodgate, Neil Warnock, Michael Flynn's the bookies' favourite, Gary McSheffrey, even though he doesn't want it full time. Even names that haven't done well recently are legendary in the EFL. Simon Grayson, Nigel Atkins. Even names like that I would take over Graham Coughlan. And like I said, that's nothing against Graham. I'm sure he's a nice guy, and he's done relatively well with Bristol Rovers and relatively well, at different things. But for me, on previous record, I don't think he's good enough to be our manager. And that's not being harsh, that's not being critical, that's just me being brutally honest. I think Graham Coughlan should just stick to where he is now. Stick to where he is now. Keep mentoring the under-23s of Sheffield United or wherever he is right now. Keep doing it and keep going at it. Because I would rather take someone else. Graham Coughlan's not my first choice, end of story. If we do end up with him, like I would any manager, I'll support them, I'll give them my full backing, I'll see what they're about. It just, off the back, it isn't a name that will excite the fans. And there was talk, I think it was either Radio Sheffield or Free Press, that Gavin Baldwin did say, we're linked, something about high-profile manager, something about possibly getting a high-profile manager. Graham Coughlan, for me, is not a high-profile manager. End of story. Finally then, the funds in January. The new Doncaster Rovers manager will be welcomed with significant funds to recruit new players in January, confirmed by Gavin Baldwin. Now, obviously, you can read the whole Free Press article yourself about that one. There's no point me reading the whole article about that one because it's down to my opinion at the end of the day. It's down to your opinion at the end of the day. I will see the proof in the pudding. As soon as there's proof in the pudding, yeah, we got the funds, because, I don't think we spent a lot on players this summer. We signed a lot of players, but I don't think we spent a whole awful lot on players at all. So, I'm going to wait for that one. But there we are, guys. Thank you very, very much for watching this video. Make sure you do like, comment, subscribe. And for now, I'm Aaron Chandler from Forever Football DRFC, killing the Rovers life, and that, my friends, full-time Riverside Die. Thank you very, very much, and I'll see you all next time.